What exactly is the problem?
No problem, just a mistake. It's I told the Army when I joined
It's not
up.
possible. Do you know why it's not possible, Private?
No, sir.
Because the United States Army does not make mistakes. So if there's a problem, you must be that problem.
I was just never supposed to be sent to a rifle company.
He's a CO, sir.
You're a conscientious objector, and you join the Army.
Well, no, sir. I'm a conscientious cooperator.
You screwing with me, Doss?
No, sir. I volunteered. I ain't got no problem with wearing my uniform and saluting the flag and doing my duty. It's just carrying a gun and taking a human life.
You don't kill. That's all.
Yes, sir, that's all.
You know, quite a bit of killing does occur in a war. I mean, that is the essential nature of war.
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any other requirements of the United States Army? Is there anything else that we can do to ensure that you have a comfortable stay here with us?
He doesn't want to work on Saturday, sir.
Well, Saturdays, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, so Saturday is my Sabbath, so I'm not allowed to work then.
I don't think that poses a problem, do you, Sergeant? We should simply ask the enemy not to invade on the Sabbath because Private Doss hears a prayer. All right. Well, now we got that clear. Now let me tell you my requirements. They're not as complicated as yours. They're very simple. As long as you're in this company, under my command, you will obey my orders, period. If you can't do it here, I can't trust you to do it in battle.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Film Bros Podcast. My name is Isaiah Lucas, and I am joined by my co-hosts.
Abraham.
And Nick.
How we doing tonight?
All right.
Freezing cold, man.
It's cold.
Yeah, it's like, it felt like one of the first days of winter today because waking up and seeing all the frost on my car.
Yeah,
and
it was
all that
weird.
Stuff. Yeah.
I woke up earlier this morning to go to work, and it was frozen, and I almost slipped down the stairs because there's water.
Oh, jeez.
And it was frozen, and I didn't notice it, and I went. Like you could see on the ring camera.
You're like,
you could see I grabbed on the thing. It was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, Sunday was actually cold outside.
Yeah, it didn't help that it was windy, too. Yeah.
It was good. I was driving home like this with my hand out the window.
Of course you were.
I was.
Funny.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I really am enjoying the weather right now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I always enjoy the winter when it comes around, but like when it comes to like getting out of bed and it's cold outside but I'm warm in bed, I'm like, oh, I want to stay here.
Yeah. You especially have like that one spot where if you
yeah.
move, any other spot is cold. You're just
Yeah.
you have to stay in one spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been there.
It's tough.
You gotta build like a cocoon.
No, it's tough to get on the toilet seat, man.
Yeah. Or wait around naked in the shower. Just like sitting there waiting for it to get hot and I'm
And
sitting
you're
there
just
I'm like
feeling it, yeah.
you know? It's tough.
We all live the same life.
I wonder what the weather felt like in Okinawa here.
It looked very peaceful.
No, it's probably like sweaty.
It's probably humid.
It's humid.
I know Japan's known for its humidity.
And it looked
Shout
like
out
you were
PewDiePie.
it looked like you were by the ocean here. So I can only imagine it probably got cold at night.
Yeah.
Probably.
Like
Nice day.
Stank.
that
All the
stank.
Yeah, dude.
It's a nice day to die is all I'm going to say.
Imagine that's all you see. You overlook and
Yeah.
shot in the head.
Crazy.
Seriously. This is like, I think the second time I've ever watched this movie, and I remember watching it in theaters the first time. But I'm curious to know what your guys' experience with it was after we talk about, of course, what movie we watched this week.
Yeah, I chose the movie from 2016, Hacksaw Ridge. It is on Netflix if you want to watch it, streaming there. That's where I watched it. And the first time I watched this movie, I want to say it was like 26, like the year it came out. But I think it was streaming. Or no, I think we rented it. I don't remember what I did, but I loved it.
Hmm.
I remember watching this and I was like, "This is a good movie. This is I can watch this over and over and over again." And I've only watched it like 3 or 4 times, but my first time, I fell in love with it. I was like, "Dude, no way! Like, this guy went in the military. Didn't even have to touch a gun, and like, was able to help so much people. And like, war always like captivated me. Kind of like, it's kind of bad to say, but like, I kind of like seeing people hurt.
Yo.
like
You
watch
gotta
my
watch the Hellraiser movies.
watch my reels, dude. Like my reels are just
Yeah, that's true.
People getting hit by cars.
people getting hit by cars and buses and stuff like that. And I could just watch it and just chuckle and be like, okay, go on with my day.
He did. All right.
As bad as it sounds. So like seeing war, and I know it's a film, so it's fake. I enjoyed it. Even though it's portraying something real that did happen. And I know that in the back of my mind, but it was just, this was like a very enjoyable movie for me. And I remember always wanting to rewatch it again. And Andrew Garfield kind of kills it here. It was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I remember checking it out just because of Andrew Garfield being in it. I was a big fanboy of him when the Amazing Spider-Mans were coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember even I remember being such a big fan of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 that it got to the point where I was like, all right, he wears this jacket in the movie and it looks so cool. I want to get a pea coat like that.
Really?
Like all this stuff. I just thought he was like the coolest dude.
Oh man.
And man, when did that come out? Amazing Spider-Man 2 probably came out in like 2014 maybe, or
Yeah, around, I think I'm gonna guess 2012.
Okay.
But
like
are you
I
picking
remember
it up?
being such a fan of that movie and just him in general, thinking like he was a good actor and I liked him.
That's number 2.
Is
And
that what we said?
yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, with what's that fool's name? Electro.
Yes.
Okay.
It came out in 2014.
Okay. And at the time, loved the movie. I went back and watched that one recently, and I'm like,
Didn't you love the?
I like his suit.
No,
Yeah.
didn't you used to say that
I think I did.
Andrew? I want to go back to like our very first episodes because I think you truly did say that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Mans were your favorite
I
Spider-Man.
think so. I think I did say that too.
yeah.
I think I might have taken it back.
I think you
though.
did.
I love
I think you
the
take it
score,
back.
like his theme. It's great.
I need to rewatch them again. I don't even remember watching the first one.
They're good.
Yeah.
I really wish they continued.
And like I love his version of like the quips and
Yeah.
stuff like that. You know, it feels more Spider-Man, like, you know, being cocky and all that stuff. But then Tom Holland come around and like
Destroys it.
completely encapsulates both Peter Parker and Spider-Man. You know?
He's
And-
definitely younger.
Yeah, and I felt like, I don't know. We're getting totally off topic.
I know.
But like
Tom Holland's the best Spider-Man.
Tobey Maguire always encapsulated the best version of Peter Parker to me. And then I loved Andrew Garfield's portrayal of Spider-Man, like as a character.
'Cause he's long and slender.
And he's got the quips and like, you know, it felt like it was the best portrayal of who Spider-Man is. And then Tom Holland come around and he just merged them perfectly, and I was just like, this is it. But now that I'm getting older, I go back and I watch the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, and there's that nostalgia hits hard sometimes, dude. And I'm like, these are freaking great. These are awesome. Spider-Man 2, that's his version of Spider-Man is the definition of like standing on business. Like hands are getting thrown, no questions asked. I'm fighting anyone and everyone. Like, it's great.
I just recently watched the third one.
Spider-Man
Oh,
3
gosh,
is
that-
freaking awful.
Oh
but
my god!
But it's got a special place in my heart.
It has a special place in my heart because of Sandman. I loved
I-
seeing Sandman because you never really saw him.
And he's a tragic character too.
He is a tragic character. I wish we got to see like a Rhino. Oh my god!
Spider-Man 3 is a special place in my heart for the fight scene between Harry and him in the house. And he goes, "Look at little Goblin Jr. Gonna cry." All of that whole thing where he's like, I protected you in high school and now I'm gonna kick your little ass, and he goes, "Ooh." Like, dude, That whole thing is so funny, man. It's
Oh.
so good.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I think of the PS4 Spider-Man as one of the best Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I remember when you let me borrow it for the first time.
Yuri Lowenthal as his voice actor kills it.
Yeah.
And that the story of it is just fantastic too.
Mm.
So much good Spider-Man content going around.
What other
Madam
movies?
Web? No, I'm kidding.
I don't know.
I'm
about-
so not excited for that movie.
Yeah. What other movies has Andrew Garfield been in that like are notable?
Tick Tick Boom was a big one for a while.
Oh yeah, it
was a musical.
that
It was
he
a
in.
musical, and that's one that I still kind of want to watch because it's a musical.
Mhm.
Andrew Garfield.
What else?
Oh gosh, off the
Trying to
top
think
of
off
my
the
head,
I can't. I associate him with
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
it's only
difficult. for me to
Spider-Man that I
think.
see.
Mm.
Yeah, the first 4 movies.
I
that
know he's in this
in.
movie called Under the Silver Lake that I've wanted to check out.
Right, where he's trying to find a girl, right, or something,
like that.
Yes,
It's supposed to be very David Lynch feely,
Mm-hmm. I remember seeing the
and
trailer
that
for
made me
one.
want to watch it immediately. So, but yeah, he's a good actor, and he puts in some good work here in Hacksaw Ridge as well. But I remember going and seeing this in theaters, and I remember generally
Social Network, bro.
Oh yeah, true.
Holy cow!
How did we forget that?
How did
He's
we
the
He's
forget
awesome
Social
in
Network?
Social Network too.
left by what does he call it? The
Because come back and lawyer up because I am coming back for everything.
yeah.
Yeah, he's good in that. He's really good in the Social
He's
Network.
phenomenal in that movie.
Yeah.
Dang, we forgot about that. That's crazy.
But yeah, I remember leaving the theater after watching it for the first time and just being like, yeah, that was good. Like, not really thinking twice about it. And I'd never returned to it since then. And boy, do I gotta say, my feelings have changed.
Dude.
Mine too.
Mine have definitely changed, and I will tell you that up front in the movie.
Like, like, the way that I left watching this movie was the same way that I left watching Gran Torino.
Dude, I still think about that movie often of how much I did not like that.
Dude, okay, you want to hear a funny story? My dad recently come up to me and was like, I rewatched Gran Torino recently. That's such a good movie. He said it's good. And I started laughing, and he was like, what? What's so funny? And I was like, you really think that? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, Gran Torino's not good. That movie,
I did not enjoy
I
it.
did not enjoy it the last time I watched it. I said, I think the only time that I really liked that movie was when I was younger and I saw it for the first time. And it was a movie that impacted me because it had cussing. And I was like, oh, the old guy is cool. He's going to stand his ground. And
I've been thinking about the soundtrack of that movie recently.
for Gran Torino.
Yeah, there's one song that I keep on thinking of, and I just don't know what it is.
Hmm.
But that's the only reason why. That's funny that he watched it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, people like that. I don't know. I must
Yeah.
be missing something.
And people are huge fans of this movie as well.
Yeah,
Like, it is unanimously loved online.
I was telling Nick before we started recording. I said, "Dude, do you remember I used to love this movie?" And I said, "Now this movie sucks." Like I struggle.
I think maybe it's because we've seen like incredible war movies.
Mm.
Like I think of films like
You know what?
like Saving Private Ryan
Okay.
or All Quiet on the Western Front or Full Metal Jacket.
I really want to watch The Patriot again.
Okay.
Maybe because it's Mel Gibson.
I want to watch Dunkirk again.
Yeah, even Dunkirk. Like we've watched some incredible war movies.
Yeah, we have.
And we've really gotten to dive in as to like what makes those movies so good. So maybe like because now we've been kind of like pampered a little bit, we see this movie and we're kind of like, man, it's lacking some of the stuff that like warrants a good movie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I noticed a lot more of its flaws, I think.
Yeah.
It's not as perfect as I
I do
imagine
too.
it being.
Yeah.
And I think I might have said this last week of me leaving feeling queasy.
Mm.
I can kind of see why I felt that way. It was pretty gruesome for a war movie. Like you
Yeah.
really see limbs detaching.
Yeah.
Like I saw that dude's legs get blown off,
Yeah.
and you see like just entrails spewing out, and
Yeah.
you're like, but I think I'm a little bit more hardened. Like it didn't phase me this time.
Desensitized.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But last time I remember really, really liking it. I
Mm.
did like it a lot last time.
All right.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I think the last time I watched was probably like 2 years ago.
I watched
Okay.
it in theaters last time I watched it.
Yeah, me too.
And now I probably won't return.
We'll get into it. So, you want to give us a synopsis of the film, Abe, and then we'll dive into the categories here?
So this is, I want to say World War II.
Yes.
Yes, this is pre like World War II, getting into the World War II era. We are following a family called the Doss family, and essentially we finally land on the main character, who is Desmond Doss, which is played by Andrew Garfield. And essentially this movie is, he is feeling like he is getting called by the world, by everyone basically, to go and serve in the military. But the only problem is he's
a pacifist.
a pacifist.
Conscientious objector.
Does not fight.
Does not fight, does not believe in killing people, does not believe in harming others. And he's like, kind of like, he has like, I believe it's a Bible.
Right.
Yep. And so he kind of follows those as well, and the commandments, and basically he feels like he needs to serve without touching a gun.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see what follows when someone who says they're going to go to war says, I'm not touching a gun.
Mm.
And we get to see the life events of Desmond Doss unfold in front of us, and how he gets to come and become in the military.
Mm.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
He's a medic going to heal the world instead of break it.
Yep. It's currently streaming on Netflix, as we mentioned before. So if you haven't seen the movie, go check it out there if you have that subscription. If not, pause it if you don't care about spoilers, because we will get into spoiler territory. Give it a pause, come back. If you don't care about that stuff, continue listening. So, as per usual, we're going to dive into the categories here. First being our favorite scenes.
Mm.
I'm curious to hear you guys any favorite scenes here.
I got one.
Really have any favorite scenes. I can like hit on like scenes that like I kind of like.
I've got bro moments.
I have bro moments.
Oh, I have a
too.
lot of bro moments for sure.
But for favorite scenes, it's just hard for me because I couldn't take this movie serious.
Yeah, it felt like a Hallmark movie.
A tiny bit.
It felt like I could watch this movie if there was no blood on this. I feel like I could watch this movie on like Nickelodeon. Truly. Or like Disney XD when it like, because Disney XD had like teen stuff. I think if this movie had no like blood in it, it wouldn't make it in rated R film. And there's just like the fact that Vince Vaughn is in here made like, that's so funny, and you can't take him serious in any part. But I will say, like, I really enjoyed like.
Yeah, I think of Vince Vaughn and I think of Dodgeball.
I think of that or The Internship.
Yeah, I think of that too with him and
The
Owen Wilson.
Internship.
Yeah.
That's one of his best. You know what? That movie.
I genuinely like The Internship.
Me too. For as like corny as it is, as much as they kind of reuse jokes over and over and over, I really like it. Especially when they're like, at the very end, they're trying to sell that pizza shop guy. For some reason, I find it so inspirational.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's a movie where they are like some really good salesmen and they go to Google to become interns.
Yeah, because Google is the new. That's like
The new tech company.
You know, you want to get in on the ground floor if possible to make a lot of money and all this stuff, and they like find themselves being like out of touch, right? They're in a changing market. They don't really understand and all this stuff, and Google essentially has this like hiring event where certain amounts of teams have to like create an app by the end of the day and write code and all this stuff.
Stupid.
They don't know what they're doing. They're way out of their element, but they
Yeah.
can come up with ideas and try to sell people on the ideas, right?
so they can do the work.
It's
Yeah.
so fun. It's a great movie, and it's a comedy, which is what Vince Vaughn I think is truly known for. So seeing him in a hard corporal saying like, "What'd you call me? You stuck a golf ball through the
Yeah.
straw." He's not like that. So to see him scream at these guys, I'm just going. You know what I mean? Like he's not into it, and it sucks too because I've shoehorned him into that role. Like that's just what I know him as.
Yeah.
So it's hard to take him
Serious.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
very hard to take a guy like Vince Vaughn serious, especially when you look at his discography too, or his filmography. Like,
It's like mostly comedies,
it's
right?
all
Yeah.
comedies. There's
Fred Claus. Like, dude's done movies like that. You know, you can't expect him to, throw him into, like, imagine he was an Oppenheimer. Like,
You know what? They
know?
did that with Josh Peck.
But like, he remarkably was able to like.
You
pull
think
up-
so?
I think so.
Whenever he's about to press that button, I just kept hearing in my head, spherical.
Or hug me, brother.
Yes.
You know?
And it was like the most influential scene. They're gonna press the button, and I'm just going.
I thought he did well.
I did too. Obviously,
He didn't have like a crazy role in the film.
No, it's true. But there was a tinge of seriousness that was lost on me just because of him.
Mm.
So, and it's unfortunate roles, because you don't want to say you can't do roles like this.
Right.
But
well, like I kind of want to like hit on like Zac Efron now, dude. Everybody's gonna think of him from High School Musical,
Yep.
True.
and
People
now
do the
with
same
Iron
thing.
Claw, everybody's gonna be like, "Dude, it's that wrestler! It's that wrestler!"
People do the same thing with Robert Pattinson.
As
Yeah,
Batman.
because I used to hate Robert Pattinson because of Twilight.
and his career is great.
Now he's Batman.
Now he's Batman.
This
Yeah.
is Zac Efron in Greatest Showman. Pretty good too.
Mm.
Pretty good. Great singer.
Mm.
That's all I gotta say.
That's with Zendaya, isn't it?
Yes.
Rewrite the song.
Yeah. Rewrite the story.
Is it?
Yeah. It is genuine. I don't know if it's actually him singing. I think it is.
I don't know.
It sounds good.
I don't know.
That's another movie
Like-
that I've always wanted to talk about, but it's more of like it just hit me, and I don't think it will hit you guys the same. Because I love Hugh Jackman too, and he's in it.
Oh.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I cried when the song "The Greatest Showman" came on, because it
I cry at the end for sure. Okay, well, let's get back to the movie. What did you guys think about the courtroom scene? That's the first one I really noted in my notes. The courtroom.
I'll tell you this. I originally started to write that down as one of my favorite scenes, and then there was something that happened, and I was like, back.
What?
The dad coming in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can we just give some context, really? It's this kid. It starts as he's a kid. They're in West Virginia.
Yes.
They're-
Mountain Mama.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I said West Virginia. Is it really West
I
Virginia?
think so.
Because it's a Blue Ridge Mountains.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So they're in this. It's old. In the what was it? 19 somethings.
19.
I don't know. I
World
just know
War
that
II
it
era,
says
60 something.
15 years earlier because the movie opens up with like the stereotypical like that's me right there laying down on the stretcher.
Oh, yeah.
My legs are blown apart. Like all it starts out that way and then it's like let me tell you how I got to this situation.
Yeah.
Without the words. Though.
Yeah. And it cuts back 15 years earlier.
Yeah.
He's a child with his brother and they're hiking and climbing mountains and all this stuff.
Starts as he's a kid. He's got a lot of family issues.
Dad's an alcoholic.
Yeah. And I
Fights with his brother a lot.
exactly.
I think- But I think the dad is one of the realest characters in the movie.
he's one of the only ones that are anti-war.
Yeah.
He's like, I've
Not
seen
even
what it does.
Anti-war, like he's just real. I think.
He's definitely got some
He has
PTSD.
knowledge and PTSD.
Well, for
Definitely.
sure,
And-
PTSD.
Like he is I do think arguably the only one in the family that is anti-war, and it's because he's had firsthand experience. He goes to those graves what seems like every day
Yeah.
and is like I went into war with my friends and I'm the only one alive
Yeah.
out of all of them.
Definitely survivor's guilt too.
Like I don't understand why my sons want this for their lives because I did and look what it got me.
Yeah.
It's- I genuinely think he has one of the better performances of the movie.
That's Hugo Weaving.
Yes.
We didn't mention.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's surprising because no matter how much his dad tells him not to go, they still feel like they have an obligation to serve their country.
Right.
Both brothers do. So
I mean,
first
but
the younger
kinda-
one, I think his name is
Hal.
How?
and then Desmond decides to go after, leaving behind his newly found girl and wife, which is not something we can relate to. It's I know I can understand it though. When you get to a world war like that, I don't know. I don't know if you guys
some kind of guilt. I know.
well, we're in a different kind of political climate right now too. It's a little different. But back then, it was like you were proud of your country.
Prideful, and it was honorable.
It was honorable. And not only that, it's like everyone is going, who am I to stay behind?
Right.
It's kind of like,
I'm a coward.
I need to do this. This is this is what I need to do. Is my duty.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I thought, like, why he felt like that.
Right.
It's because he's like, where every other guy's going, I'm a guy, I should go.
Yeah. He even said that some of his friends that were not drafted or were not chosen went on and off themselves because they couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
Which I think is crazy, but
yeah, because the
time was different back then.
The thinking of the military has changed so much.
So much.
Since then.
Well, now if you're in the
Like,
military,
now if you're
you
in the
gotta get
military-
married the second you get your first leave, and then
You need a
gotta
Charger or a Challenger.
Yeah,
Like-
or a truck.
Like, and now, like, people see the military as like, I don't have anything going on in my life. Let's go sign up for the military.
Yeah, it's like,
know?
I want
Let me go make some easy money.
Yeah, they
basically.
say I want to go to college, but I don't want to pay for it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go here so they can pay for it later.
Yeah.
Or
I've heard a lot of stories
I
like
can't
that.
leave my little town, so I'm gonna be a military and then become a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm saying, the political climate around armies and wars have changed, definitely.
100%. I'm not fighting in a war if we get in a war right now.
You might not get a choice.
I'm diabetic. They can't.
I got bronchitis.
I got eggs.
Yeah.
But, thinking about it in context of the time period, I can feel the call and I can feel the responsibility to go.
Yeah,
To sacrifice yourself for the sake of a nation you care so much about.
100%. I can see it too.
But he goes and he's like, dude, because of my religion, I'm not carrying a weapon. Not carrying a weapon. And the first half of the film is he gets to where he's stationed, and the people give him absolute crap.
Right.
Nobody respects his convictions, and everyone treats him like absolute dog water.
Yeah. It's like we're watching Full Metal Jacket, but through the perspective of Private Pile.
Private Pile, seriously.
Except Private Pile, he doesn't end up killing himself.
Yeah. He's got more mental fortitude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole freaking first half of the movie is him.
And let me tell you, felt like a chore
It did.
getting through that first half, dude.
It did, but
You don't go to war until about 45 minutes
literally
before the
halfway
movie
in
ends.
the movie.
yeah,
Like it's the actual halfway point of the film whenever they get to Okinawa.
right.
That is
But it's all leading up. Like this whole thing is leading up to Andrew Garfield, aka Desmond, is finally getting through. He's not using weapons. He's already told him, and then he's going to get on leave to
Get married.
get married. And one of the commanding officers says, "You can't leave. You haven't done all your
You're not fully trained.
Yeah, you're not fully trained. You don't have any rifle experience." And he's like, "Well, I'm not gonna do it." And he's like, "Are you disobeying a direct order from your person?" And he says, "Yeah." So he gets imprisoned.
Yep.
He's basically like, "You're going to jail if you don't follow this." And that's why the whole courtroom starts, because he is saying, "I'm not guilty."
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I liked the beginning of the scene when he's up on stand and he's got no one to support him,
And he's giving his convictions.
Yes.
And he's telling them. Well, immediately he originally the plan was like take the guilty plea, and they'll let you go and all this
Changes it.
stuff. And he's like, no, I'm gonna change it last minute. We're gonna enter not guilty plea, and I'm gonna fight for this, and I'm gonna show you why. And it's whenever he starts to share his convictions.
I like it.
Andrew Garfield really turns in a good performance right here. He starts saying like, when Pearl Harbor happened, I felt the call. I felt the call to serve my country, and I wasn't gonna just stand there while I was willing, like fully able to do something, and not do it. Like
Yeah.
I would be a coward if I felt the call and didn't do it.
Yeah.
And then he starts saying, I've had friends who actively wanted to go in and weren't able to make it, and they straight up offed themselves, like you had said. And I got lucky enough to be in this position, and the only thing that's stopping me from serving my country is that I don't want to kill somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like and it's only because of my personal convictions, and like I feel like I can serve my country without killing for it.
Right.
And I can help try to put some of it back together if that's the case.
I thought it was incredibly like heartfelt,
Mhm.
and I really like was pleading for him in my mind. I was like,
I mean,
just let the guy serve. He
it
wants
sounds so nice to serve without hurting, doesn't
Right.
it?
exactly. He said like as the world is tearing itself apart, I want to be there
To put
be
it back
to put
together.
to put it back together. I mean, how could you not root for
would-
the guy?
Yeah,
He's
for real.
genuinely selfless.
Yeah.
He's saying, I want to go there and I want to save as many people as possible. I don't care if I have to take my life doing it.
Mhm.
I'm like, dude, you're great. Go. I would say, like, if I was a commanding officer, I'd be like, we need more like you, son. Like, we need 50 more like you.
Yeah.
Get more. Like, I don't know why they would try so dang hard to keep him away.
Mhm.
It's like I feel like these are the exact kind of people you need.
Yeah.
But then here's the problem. Like Isaiah pointed out, he signed up as a combat medic,
Which is true. That is true.
so they have to come at him for that. Cause
Yeah. I don't know how that whole system works. 'Cause
Yeah.
there seem to be people who didn't have to go on the front lines to fight, like doctors who stayed behind. Maybe that's just because they're higher rank, and that's just his only position as a medic is to be on the front.
maybe
I don't know.
Not sure. But he's there. He finds himself there, which is where my first couple of scenes start.
Okay.
You have
yeah,
any?
go right ahead. I want to talk about when they first climbed the mountain. So
Go ahead.
if
Yeah, do it.
when you get, so they get to Okinawa, and they're there, and at first they have to like travel through like this countryside, I believe, and they have to get that's how they have to get to Okinawa, and I specifically the shot that like I was like, holy cow, is you get a shot of this like cargo net hanging over this mountain,
Yeah.
and you see things moving and not knowing much. Those are actually soldiers, and you're like, holy cow, these people have to climb that into combat where you know you got people shooting at your direction. And this, I think, is where I started to like pay more attention because I was like, finally, something interesting is
Some
gonna happen.
action.
Yeah, and like, I was like finally ready for it. And then we finally get to the top, and it's just hell. You can't see anything. It's super dusty. You don't see any of the enemies, and you're just like, oh shoot, like, and it's quiet. It's dead silent.
Mhm.
And then finally, just out of nowhere, all you hear is,
Yeah. It reminds me of the D-Day scene in Saving Private Ryan.
and it's
where
literally
it's just
it's all the
Immediate chaos.
yeah.
yeah, it's just your enemies.
The the drawbridge drops down and
And
everyone just
You just see soldiers dying left and right.
Yep.
I remember in the movie theater I was like,
Yeah.
people are just dying. Like it takes like it blew my mind
Yeah.
just how vulnerable you guys are.
Yeah.
And it's like people are just there to be fodder. Like I don't know. It feels like no one is significant. You know what I mean? It just felt so like, oh, he's dead. Whatever. Keep going.
Yeah.
It feels so.
what are you supposed to do? You know?
Exactly. I don't know. It just feels so like desolate and just like horrible. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain it other than it's chaos. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is where our people we kind of have been going through the movie with at the when they're going through training and all that. We get a couple people here and there. They've got some character arcs going, and this is when they really get tested at the beginning. You know, you see them having to duck and cover. You see Vince Vaughn's there. He's making calls, telling people what to do, and it is an absolutely chaotic first little bout that they go on.
Mm-hmm.
And all the while you're seeing people die left and right, and you're seeing Desmond you're seeing Desmond go up and save people where he can, give them the morphine. Mine doesn't start until they get completely and totally overrun.
Mm.
It's like it's the part where
Where they're like hiding and stuff.
people have fallen asleep and they're waiting, and when all the Japanese people come out of their tunnels,
Mhm.
and just everyone is like retreating, going back down the mountain.
Yeah.
I loved the scene where they got artillery going, everyone had made it down, and then you just see Desmond just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
like, and there's smoke behind him like crazy, and he's the only one to stay behind. And to me, it felt rewarding because throughout the entire first half of the film, everyone's calling him a coward. Everyone's calling him like a loser. He shouldn't be, or this is not where you belong. You're a disgrace, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he's the only one to stay and give his life for those who are still out there.
Yeah.
And this is part of the movie where I looked at the character of Desmond, and I was inspired by his selflessness here. I really enjoyed seeing a little bit of a callback where, he goes out, and as the artillery's going, he's using it as cover, and he's finding people that have been left behind that are injured, and he's going and healing them and giving them morphine and putting what are those called? Tourniquets, or cinching their legs off and dragging them. And that knot he tied earlier in the film comes back to save these guys by wrenching them down. And I don't know, this. I really, if I were to rewatch this movie, it would be just this collection of scenes where he's saving people and he's laying back down and he's like, Lord, just help me get one more.
Yeah.
And then he goes back out, and you can tell like his hands are getting ripped up from the rope.
Yeah.
He's saving more people. He's the only one there, and yet he lays back and says, "Just one more.
Yeah.
Just one more."
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I felt genuinely inspired by that kind of altruism. I was like, he doesn't have to do this. He doesn't have to be up there.
Yeah.
If he went down with all the rest of the people, no one would have
They
batted
wouldn't
an
say
eye.
anything.
Yeah.
Because he went up there and he fought.
Yeah, he went up there and fought, and he could help heal people down there, and yet he still, I'd say, pretty much sacrifices his life for these guys.
Yeah.
And he goes to save a lot of the people that were injured, like the Vince Vaughn. I don't know their names. That's
Yeah.
the one flaw of this
It's like
movie. Is like,
Captain Glover or something like that.
don't care.
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn. He saves Vince Vaughn. He tries to save that guy he actually got close to, the one that was the most antagonistic towards him.
Mm-hmm.
Which
The
was
guy that got ripped off in half?
no, he got shot. It's
It's like
Stringer or Steely.
I want to say Stiffy for some reason, but it's not that.
Which one is it? Wait, how does he look?
It's the one guy that's like
He's blonde.
yes.
Smitty?
Smitty.
Stiffy.
I would have believed you, man. Stiffy, Smitty. When he saves Smitty but isn't able to, that's kind of heartfelt. You see him like dodging active firing, and like that guy he's like, please help me. And
Yeah.
He covers his face with dirt, and he has to pretend to be dead.
Yeah.
And
That was like my only favorite scene right there.
tell me that's not great.
Smart.
Yeah.
It's-
It was a genuine moment of like real tension that I actually really enjoyed.
Yeah. It reminds me of games that we played, like a Call of Duty type, where you lay across with the dead
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
No, that reminds me of like Warzone when it first started, when we would just lay in people's body and then we would revive each other because we wouldn't be moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me that it didn't actually like. I feel like it genuinely looked like the camera work was good too. Just with how it like, you just see his like bright blue eye, like
Yeah.
it just is sick to me.
I saw
Yeah.
a fact that actually Mel Gibson bought like 2 handheld cameras to film these
This exact scene we're talking about.
like the scenes on the mountain to make them look more realistic.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like this collection of scenes where he's saving people when he really doesn't need to.
I think
Yeah.
the only good scenes in this movie are where there's combat.
Yeah.
Fair.
Um,
If you don't have anything, I have one last one, and it's at the very end. I genuinely really liked like the interview scene with the real life people.
Oh, where they show like bits of that documentary that,
Yes.
that took place about his life.
Yes,
Yeah.
I really, really like you. I mean, you hear some of the quotes that the real Desmond Doss says where he's like, he recalls stories about that guy who thought he was blind. And you could think back to what you saw in the movie, and you're like, oh, yeah, they showed that.
Yeah.
And it really ties in the whole, it's a true story.
Mhm.
You know, someone had really gone through the chaos of it all.
Yeah.
Maybe more dramatized, whatever, but he still did that.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. You see some of the guys who was like opposed to his position.
Yeah, it was actually Captain Glover.
Yeah.
The guy that was portrayed by Vince Vaughn.
Isn't that sick? And
Yeah.
he had a tear come down his eye saying, I owe that man my life.
Yeah.
Again, I loved it. I really enjoyed that real life people at the end. I thought it was a great way to end it.
I think seeing that, because I don't think I really said that this was based on a true story. So seeing that this was based on a true story, and like you said, seeing the documentaries made me want to watch the documentary now.
Yeah.
Because maybe there's more that we're gonna learn from that than this. 100%.
Yeah. I found myself doing that recently with the Iron Claw.
Okay.
And getting like even more tragic.
I'm assuming you learned about the Von Erich family.
Yes. And like learning that there is like even more to the story they decided not to put in the movie because they were like, this is just too harsh for people to see. Like, yeah. I
need to watch this movie, man.
I thought you watched it.
No, not yet.
Yeah, I like whenever movies do that. You know, whenever they are actually able to show, you know, at the end, you know, really what happens, what they actually looked like, if they're still alive, where they're at, you know, stuff like that. It's always nice.
Yeah. So that's one of the last ones I wanted to talk about.
Okay. All right. We got any other favorite scenes here?
That's it.
All right. Then let's move into best quotes. The only quote that I had down here that I really enjoyed was from just a random like character. He has like one line, like two lines in the film, and he's quoting a philosopher named Herodotus, and he says, "In peace, sons bury their fathers. In war, fathers bury their sons."
Yeah,
there's like that quote.
It's tragic. And the two, I love that the guy's like, "Why
would you
saying
say
that?" He's like, "Why you saying that? That's not helping us."
Yeah.
Yeah. I laughed at one of the scenes where Captain Glover, Vince Vaughn, he sees Andrew Garfield for the first time. He says, "I have seen stalks of corn with better physiques."
He goes, "From now on, you're private corn stock."
Yeah, and he's like, "You better watch him in case a wind blows him away."
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, I had the In Peace one. I thought that was actually quite impactful.
Yeah. All right, if that's it for any quotes, let's move into bro moments. My first one was Desmond smacking his brother in the head with a brick.
Dude, that
so stupid.
You've never gotten so angry that you hit your brother with something?
Not with the brick, dude.
Yeah, not with a brick. And it's also done like where like Mel Gibson's trying to like put the symbolism, like he's going so heavy-handed with it.
Yeah,
you know?
it is so.
You know,
and then you see him looking at the Our Father art in heaven.
Thou shalt not kill.
And you see freaking.
I could have killed them, Cain and Abel.
Yeah,
you know, it's
come
like,
on.
Okay, dude, we get it, bro.
Nah, you're not supposed to kill.
Get it, we get it.
I thought it was a bro moment when they, in the beginning, when they're overlooking the mountain. It's a beautiful view. I would be scared so bad if my brother acted like he was gonna push me. That's a big bro moment. There's no way if I'm overlooking something and I know there's a potential I'm falling, nobody better freaking touch me because I'm just gonna go back to the car. It's so scary.
Yeah.
The thought of falling and not being able to catch yourself.
It is scary.
Yeah.
And that's I hate that because I feel like my brothers would do that to me now, and I just couldn't.
Yeah. It's because it would look funny on the way down. Whenever you
Shut up.
I'm just joking. Another bro moment for me is whenever we get to freaking boot camp and the dude is doing pull-ups naked for like no reason.
It's because he thinks he's
like
all that.
There's actually no reason for the guy to be naked. Like
for some reason, I didn't even realize he was naked.
Like cheeks are just out.
You didn't see bare cheeks?
Balls on full display right in front of Desmond. He's just doing pull-ups.
Yeah, I don't know why you do that. Why?
I felt like Mel Gibson was like, Mr. Hollywood's got to be naked. Like he's got to be. And they're like, why, Mel Gibson?
Character.
Why does he have to be naked? And he's like, he's Mr. Hollywood. He's got to be. Like, you know? And it's like, do you want to just stare at some cheeks, you know?
It's okay. That guy, one of the characters said those balls belong to somebody else that's not in Hollywood.
Yeah, I don't. It just, as soon as I saw it, I was like, why is he naked?
No
What purpose does that serve as for his character?
Yeah.
I don't even
That
know
he's
where
arrogant?
what happens to his character. Does he die?
Dies.
No, he doesn't die. He
He's with
gets
Captain-
saved by Desmond.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Does
I
he?
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mine
because he gets
start-
shot in the cheek. Remember? And then they
Yes.
put the whole thing
Yes,
over him, and then
yes,
they're like,
yes,
"Oh,
yes.
your Hollywood face. Oh, you'll still be able to pull girls."
Girls will still kiss you. Yeah.
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 My stuff starts at the war.
Oh, I also just can't take Vince Vaughn serious.
No, you
being,
cannot.
being a drill sergeant, and he's like trying to do like the Full Metal Jacket thing.
Yeah.
You know, where he's like getting in their faces and being like,
Did I stutter?
yeah, he's just trying to be intimidating and serious. And I got to tell you right now, if Vince Vaughn was
Dude.
screaming him in my face like
I'm
that,
laughing.
Dude, I'd be
I
like-
would be just like,
Whenever he told him to do his war scream, I was like,
yeah. It immediately reminded me of Full Metal Jacket when he goes, "That's a war face. That was a war face,"
Yeah.
and they're like, "Ah," you know, like he's
It's the
trying to
same.
do that, and it's not working. You know, like, yeah,
I think that's where Mel Gibson did not come in clutch.
yeah. Okay, this one right here for me is in the war. Like whenever they're showing all
Okay.
the battle here, it's like super quiet. It's like right when the fighting's about to start, and the jump scare from that soldier happens.
Dude.
Yeah,
wait, what
the jump scare from that soldier happens. Like some guy accidentally touches him, and he just goes,
Oh yes, yeah. When we laughed earlier, it's because he pulled the still of that up, and the guy's like,
I was looking at the stills because I was like, okay, where are we at in the movie?
and then all of a sudden, because he's making all this noise, he just gets shot.
Yes.
and then all of a sudden, just all this fighting.
freaking,
It was funny. It made me laugh.
he's
It made
getting
me
dome.
laugh.
It looks like.
Yeah, he's just. Dude, it made me laugh hard.
I didn't suspect this picture to come up, so when we laughed,
Yeah, I
it
looked
showed
over
up.
and I just saw that. I was like,
yeah.
honestly, seeing the dude's legs getting blown off
Dude,
was crazy.
and then using his body as a shield?
Yes, dude. I was
Stiffy
telling,
did that,
I-
right?
Yes, I was
Yes.
telling Nick, that is so egregiously unserious. That should be something that's in Tropic Thunder. Like, and it would be funny, you know? Like, that shouldn't be serious right now, dude. He took half a torso and held it up like a shield and started like laying down fire with someone in his hand.
I hated the fact that his face was facing outwards, too.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, there's no way this is happening right now. And they
Yeah.
want us to think it's cool,
Yeah.
you know? Like,
I laughed. Like, there's nothing more you can do but laugh. Because you also get the scene, which is another bro moment of mine. It's Vince Vaughn, who cannot do anything but sit up and shoot.
Oh, yeah. That's towards the end of the movie.
yeah. I have a couple others.
Oh, hit it.
What about the captain, the dude, I'm forgetting his name, the other guy, not Vince Vaughn, but the other guy above him.
Right. His name
Captain
is,
Glover.
Nope.
Is
His
that-
name is actually Sam, like his
Oh.
actual actor name.
Okay.
Sam Worthington from
Yeah,
Avatar.
yeah.
Yeah, that's Captain Glover.
Is it him?
Yes, Vince
Okay.
Vaughn's.
Oh, we were calling Vince Vaughn Captain Glover.
What's Vince Vaughn's character?
I can't even see it on here. It's
He's
not
just
even-
Vince Vaughn,
It's
dude.
Vince Vaughn.
He's just Vince Vaughn.
Okay. Well, Captain Glover for real.
I really don't see
slamming the guy down on that grenade.
Yeah, that would it?
I don't know.
Would it? I don't know. They don't look very powerful, but I would think the shrapnel would go through the guy and hit him too.
Same way a bullet would go through a human shield and hit freaking Stiffy.
Exactly.
Sergeant Hal. Is Vince Vaughn.
Sergeant Hal. Yeah, I mean he's a drill sergeant. I'm silly.
You silly goose.
Another one for me was seeing the reason why Desmond won't touch a gun was because of the whole altercation that he had with his father.
Oh,
Where he like pulled
yeah.
out the gun on the mom and was gonna like kill her, and he intervenes and like acts like he's gonna kill his dad.
It's like in my mind, I did.
Yeah, and he's like, well, because of that, I won't touch a gun. That's why we find out why.
Oh,
Yeah,
I had one
Up until-
where dude was one of the guys was a Japanese soldiers was a kamikaze. I thought it was wild.
Dude.
I think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the time where he puts his body on the grenade.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember that.
I think so.
That was wild.
Imagine being a flamethrower soldier.
You know what?
Dude.
Gotta feel useless, right? Like
No, 100% useless.
like,
you get
you got
shot
this-
in the tank.
You
Yeah.
get
You're
this,
dead.
you get this heavy backpack, and they're like, "Yo, go in there and just start spraying and see what happens."
Spray and pray is
Well,
literally
you-
what they're telling him to do.
I don't know. I had
You
like
have no other way to defend yourself
Just
other than hoping that
pistol.
something's close to you and you could set it on fire.
but it's not just spewing flames. It's spewing napalm, which is like liquid.
Right.
It's like oil that's coming out. So
So essentially, like, you're turning them, you're gonna burn them to death.
they will
because-
die. They will die.
Yeah, but imagine I'm coming at you with an M1 Grand, bruh.
Yeah, you're more of like a flanker. You should be a fire flanker. You shouldn't be like on the front lines.
Yeah.
But seeing people burn and like that, I was like, holy.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was really a bro moment because you see how the Japanese were just smart and just hid underground.
True.
That is so smart.
It is smart.
Yeah.
I would have never thought of like ever like to use underground as like part of your warfare.
Mm.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Because like when you think of war, I just think of like buildings blowing up and like on the ground, not underground stuff. So that was really cool to see, and I thought it was like, bruh, like imagine if we were that smart.
Mm. I think we've done some stuff like that.
Up until this point now, it's for me, it's freaking Desmond dragging Vince Vaughn around like he's a kid.
What about
in the laundry basket?
True?
You know,
He does touch a gun, which
he
is
does touch
interesting.
one, but it's only
he
to
doesn't use
make
it.
the
Yeah, but
the
he
tarp.
actually says, "I will not touch a gun,"
mm.
but he does.
But I feel like that at that point he realizes like, I gotta go, and this is the only thing that's gonna help me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what
Just it felt like significant when he throws him the gun and he's like holding
Touches
it. I was
it.
like,
And he's like,
"Ooh."
it's too late for target practice now, kid. Yeah.
he's like, "Hobo."
yeah.
What about whenever he
and him sitting up at 90 degrees,
Yeah,
just going. It,
he's a mechanic. They put
Yeah.
a face on a mechanic, bruh, and he's literally like, yeah, nine. this is his legs.
Yeah.
He has his legs are broken. This is him.
Yeah.
He's shooting like this.
yeah.
he's
It's like a turret. He might
animatronic.
as well be a turret.
Yeah.
He paid 1,000 coins to turn him on, bro.
Yeah, dude.
What about seeing Desmond actually heal the Japanese soldier who's wounded? Is that
It
wild?
just shows his character, though. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. He just wants to help. No matter who the person
Yeah.
is, he just wants to be
I kept
a person of help.
thinking about ways the scene could go wrong.
Yeah, me too.
Like where like he's helping him and then the guy go, oh, you know, like all that stuff.
I immediately thought of like a kamikaze.
Oh, okay.
Because what if he had a grenade?
him just going,
Well, yeah, you're helping him.
yeah.
I mean, at that time, the Japanese were ruthless. They would do anything.
Mm.
So imagine you in a U.S. military medic tent, and you wake up and you're just, all right.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that was crazy too. Hearing that DOS, not only did he send down American soldiers, but he was sending out Japanese soldiers as well to be healed.
Yeah.
That was wild.
The question is, what do you think America did with them?
Just killed them.
Yeah.
Well, they
That's a war
said
crime.
is it really?
Yeah. If someone like willingly surrenders,
No,
or
it's
is,
not
like,
willing.
They weren't surrendering.
or if they're like they're needing help, that's a war crime.
Is it really?
Yes. So like the part whenever they like
But
tricked them
what about
with the
like
treaty?
not killing
No.
them, but just not helping them?
Not helping them? I don't know. I feel like you kind of
yeah. What if like you send?
You have to?
Okay.
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
that's another thing I wanted to talk about. The whole fake surrender scene was crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it. Like you see that one guy commit I don't know what
Seppuku?
seppuku or whatever,
Yeah.
and he's doing it, gets beheaded.
Why does he need to get beheaded?
I'm not sure.
I thought that's one of my bro moments because I thought seppuku was just stab in the stomach,
How do you
and
spell
that's
No, I don't know.
it's SEPUKKA.
I don't know.
Seppuku? I don't know how to say it, but yeah, I thought traditionally you just like you stab yourself in the stomach and that's how you die. But like I don't know, it felt like it needed to go the extra mile for some reason with dude having his head lopped off.
No, I think it might be actually legit.
It just says the honorable method of taking one's life,
Yeah.
practiced by men in the samurai military (class in the Fedua, Japan.
Yeah. in that culture, it's more honorable to like.
Oh yeah.
You'd
rather kill
die with
yourself.
honor than like be taken by the enemy or
Yeah.
something like that.
You'd rather, fall by your own hands rather than go to capital punishment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about, at least this Wikipedia article, it doesn't say anything about beheading. It just says to the left and to
Yeah.
up and right or whatever.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's it for bro moments for me.
Oh, I had my last one was them going up there again, but hearing, "Where are you? You should have been up there 10 minutes ago." And you're like, "We're waiting, sir, for him to finish praying for us."
Yeah.
I thought that was wild.
But then that also just shows like people trust him.
Yeah, well, when he came down, he was almost like this heavenly figure,
Yeah, him freaking. Whoever's operating that pulley system is a jerk, just leaving him dangling there because he was not moving.
I think
Like he
It's
just
probably the
dangled into the
same-
middle. Just
no, he threw off Stickler's body, and like as a counterweight.
oh.
So that body fell down, and he matched it.
Oh.
That's why he didn't go down anymore. That's why he because the enemies were literally right there, like about to kill him. So he rolled his off and then jumped with him.
Mm.
Stiffy, Stickler, one of the two. None of the two. I don't know. Who cares? Yeah, that's the last one I had.
I don't know. I felt like the whole praying thing.
There's a little.
It was like heavy-handed.
Or
as
the
well.
whole-
Pray.
My Bible.
Yeah, I don't know. It just felt like one of those things where Mel Gibson is like, conservatives are gonna love this, like where they're like the guys like we gotta pray before we go into battle. It felt like that.
I
to
think
me.
I think the answer should more fall on the conservatives are gonna like this.
Mm. Yeah. All right. Any other bro moments here?
No.
That's
All
it.
right. Let's get into facts with the bros then.
Yeah, to make this movie, I thought it was a good amount to make this movie. It took about $40 million to make this movie. Opening weekend, it made $15.1 million. Gross for U.S. and Canada, $67.2 million. And then gross worldwide is $180.5 million.
Sheesh.
So it
Yeah.
made its money, and
then some.
and then some. And then I think it only goes to tell because it has its certain audience. 100%.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I was part of that 180 million, like,
Mm-hmm.
because I used to love this movie.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, it even won some Oscars and was nominated for some heavy hitter categories.
kind of
as well.
crazy.
Yeah, it was nominated for categories like Best Picture and Best Actor and a Leading Role and so on and so forth. It ended up winning. The only Oscars that it did take home were the Oscar for Best Achievement in Sound Mixing and Best Editing. But this went against the likes of movies like Moonlight, Arrival, La La Land, Fences, Hell or High Water, Hidden Figures, Manchester by the Sea.
Wow.
Some pretty big hitters that
Yeah.
some of which we've done on the pod already. So
That is crazy.
yeah.
I had heard that Desmond Doss's son, Desmond Doss Jr., served as a military consultant during the film's production to ensure an accurate portrayal of his father's life and experiences. Thought that was pretty cool.
That's that is pretty cool, actually. One that I thought would immediately change the movie is Mel Gibson was originally meant to play Sergeant Hal,
Mm.
but passed the role on to obviously Vince Vaughn. If he would have done that, I would have believed Mel Gibson 100% more. Because
crazy.
I feel like Mel Gibson can scare some people.
Gosh, you
Yeah,
know
he
what?
just starts spouting racial slurs at everyone.
I think of the people who have never had a Vince Vaughn experience and that be their first movie, and then to see all of his other movies are just comedies.
Isn't there?
Mm.
There's like
There's an alternate world where that happens.
Yeah.
there's like, I think of a quote that Vince Vaughn says because it's in the movie and she's like, I don't know what it says, but all he goes, it says, of dick, like she.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I don't know what movie it is.
I don't know what movie it is.
She like, my sister's been through a lot.
Yeah,
He goes,
and he
yeah.
goes, oh, dick.
Yeah.
That's immediately.
It's with
I think
Jennifer
of-
Aniston, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's like a rom-com movie where he was like always getting into fights or something.
I don't remember.
Why do I remember that too? Dude, why do you have like the most random thoughts?
That's what comes up to mind when I think of.
Pull up his
Vince
movies
Vaughn.
and as we talk,
I literally just put up Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston.
It's on The Breakup.
Breakup.
Mm.
You're right.
He plays Gary Grabowski.
Grabowski.
Grabowski, yeah.
Mm.
With Jennifer Aniston, yeah.
Interesting.
That's wild. No, I love that. you
Like
brought
I
that up.
think of Vince Vaughn and seeing this movie, I thought of that.
I just
Yeah.
And 100%, like I said,
I think of Dodgeball.
he.
I love that movie, man.
It's been a
Dodgeball.
Yeah.
while since I've watched it.
Dodgeball's good.
It's a
But Mel
freaking
Gibson would
childhood.
be 100% better than Vince Vaughn, in my opinion, just in that role because Vince Vaughn cannot be taken serious.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, I have a huge fact actually in regards to some of the real story as to the events that actual Desmond Doss went through, and they decided to cut this out of the movie, which I'm really surprised at because this sounds so interesting. It could really make for like a great sequence in the film, but they decided not to do it, and it kind of blows my mind. But so in the film, Desmond gets injured by a grenade that rolls by his legs and ends up getting carried out on a stretcher, and he does the whole my Bible, you know, that whole thing. That's how the movie ends with his character. But the actual events that take place are actually notated on his Medal of Honor. They're on the Medal of Honor that Desmond Doss actually received. There's a citation that also goes along with it that details why you received the Medal of Honor. And not only did he save tons of people and all that stuff, which the Medal of Honor cites, it also cites how he was injured in combat and then survived his injury. So whenever he was actually injured, he was actually injured at nighttime, and it was a couple weeks into his Okinawa campaign. And it was a night attack that specifically happened. He ended up stepping on a grenade, and it wounded his legs. And he had to wait 5 hours before stretcher bearers could reach him, during which time he had dressed his own wounds. And then while he's being carried back to safety by these stretcher bearers, they were then attacked by a Japanese tank. Doss then crawled off the stretcher to a more seriously wounded man and insisted that the others who came to evacuate him evacuate these guys first and then return for him. While waiting for the stretcher to return, he was then shot by a sniper as he was being carried by another soldier.
Oh my gosh.
And then the shot from the sniper caused a compound fracture in his arm, which he then improvised a splint using a broken rifle stock. And then he crawled 300 yards to an aid station from that point to be treated for his wounds.
Holy.
So
He goes
I
through
mean,
a
he
lot
was
more.
he was a BA for sure.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Like, that seems so
Intense.
interesting and intense. That would make for a great sequence in the film. And they completely cut it.
Yeah, I wonder why.
I think that's a lot. That would have been a lot better than freaking running around with the body in your hand.
Or freaking carrying Vince Vaughn around.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
because then we could have seen how.
We already saw his persistence and how, like, you know, how diehard he was to save people. Right?
Yes.
But now he's being put in a position where he's got to save himself.
That's what I'm saying.
True.
We
You
could have
know,
seen how.
like that could have been an even bigger character arc. For him.
That could drive home a lot of tension too.
Right.
I
yeah,
I
dude,
kind of did feel like he had a lot of plot armor.
Yeah.
A lot of bullets were missed. A lot of explosions were missed by him.
Yes.
Maybe.
Imagine having to make your own splint, and especially out of a broken rifle stock. How do you
That'd
think
be
of
kinda,
that?
Yeah, it'd be kind
How
of
do
cool.
you think of
Yeah.
that?
There was also a couple other
It's a
several.
little bit ironic too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
The weapon meant to kill is now.
Is now helping him.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
could see like a little bit of jabbing there.
Yeah. There was also a couple other events that were actually changed or left out. So actually, the real story in regards to Desmond also almost shooting his father after the fight with the mom.
Right.
In real life, the fight was actually between Desmond's father and his uncle, and his mother had to step in to take away the gun from his father. And then she handed the gun over to Desmond to go hide it from his father, so that way the father didn't kill his uncle. And Desmond, goes and hides it, and then from that point on swore he would never touch a gun or anything like that.
Wow.
Desmond apparently had an older sister named Audrey, who was not portrayed in the film. He also didn't meet Dorothy while she was a nurse at a hospital. They met whenever she came to his church selling Adventist books, and she only became a nurse after the war.
Really?
He didn't even miss their wedding by being put in a holding cell. They were already married at that point.
Really?
Yeah. And also Desmond's prior combat experience, he had prior combat experience in the Battle of Guam and the Battle of Leyte, and it's completely skipped over in the movie, making it seem that Okinawa is his first combat experience when that isn't the case.
Oh, wow.
And the assault on Hacksaw Ridge actually seems to only take place over a couple of days. But the citation on Desmond's Medal of Honor states that the battles and events took place over 3 weeks, and the Battle of Okinawa itself lasted 82 days.
Holy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I had seen, too, that they exaggerated the distance the soldiers had to climb.
They said it was about 30 feet.
Which is less, less.
Yeah, and then you have to do it for the movie. And
Yeah.
one that I also thought was, I'm looking up this person as well, was Aaron Schneider was supposed to be set to direct this, and Mel Gibson took it over. I don't know who Aaron Schneider is. I looked him up right now on his IMDb. His most recent film is from 2020, and it's called Greyhound. Never heard of it. And then his film before that was Get Low. Little John and the East Side Boys are gonna pop out right now, bro. So I kind of wonder, I don't know anything about that director, but I kind of wonder what would it be like without Mel Gibson.
Yeah, me too.
Dude, Mel Gibson.
He should stop making movies.
He's so weird. He states that if Desmond T. Doss was alive today, he would want him to be president of the United States.
What kind of
Who says that? Who says that?
I don't know. I read that. I was like, what?
You're the last guy that I care about who you want to be president.
I was like,
let alone Desmond Doss. Why do you want him to be president? Just because he saved people? Because he cares for America?
I guess.
I don't know. That's just such a strange.
It was very weird. I was
Yeah.
like, what in the world?
Strange. I saw another fact too that because we did another Mel Gibson movie here on the pod.
Apocalypto.
Yeah, and
yeah.
Apocalypto, and
Passion of Christ?
No. Hacksaw Ridge was his first movie since Apocalypto.
Yeah, and this one sucked. He should just stop after Apocalypto.
Oh, man. I had seen, too, that he had a son, Milo Gibson, here. It was his film debut.
No, I did see that Mel Gibson also had...
Nepotism.
What's nepotism?
You don't know what nepotism is?
We talked about it.
Never heard of Nepo Baby?
Oh, I've heard of a Nepo Baby. Yeah.
It's the same.
Does he
Basically,
have
you get the
nepotism?
job because your family
Because your
members.
family's in the business.
And it really is you actually suck.
Yeah.
You suck at the job, and yet you're still there.
Yeah.
When if you were anyone else, you would have been fired a million years ago.
Yeah. Yep.
I was going to say I want Nepo, but I don't want that.
Yeah.
It's good if you're benefiting from it,
Yeah.
but almost everyone
Maya Hawke.
hates you.
Prime example of a nepotism baby. She's good. She's good at what she does.
But
But
she's only popular
she's
because
got
of Ethan Hawke.
Ethan Hawke for a dad
And Mia.
and freaking
Uma Thurman.
Uma Thurman for a
Yeah.
mom.
I almost said Mia Thurman.
Yeah.
Uma.
All right. Anything else for the facts?
Nah.
Nah.
All right. Let's get into what didn't work.
It sucked. First and foremost, this movie does not need to be 2 hours long.
I agree.
At least
I
an
agree.
hour 30.
Yeah,
Because you could take so much. You could take out when they're growing up. You could take out when he meets Dorothy. I'm okay with that.
Mm.
I think if you were only to show when he sees that he's getting called to the military, I think from that point on, you're solid.
Mm.
Nothing in the beginning matters. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't matter at the end of the movie. All it matters in
I
the
mean,
movie
it-
is that he just gets to the military and he's able to serve without killing.
It's somewhat sets up his character slightly, but I agree. The first half of the movie kind of blows. Yeah. I just was not really interested. In fact, I was kind of bored. It's really a generic, bland, boring, run-of-the-mill story about a guy who's going to the military.
Really.
Yeah,
Unfortunate
and-
as that
and-
sounds, it is.
And they do these like horrible setup shots where like, oh, he might potentially have a way of helping people with that kid, like the thing falling on his
Oh,
arm,
yeah.
and he's like, oh, put the belt around it. You just potentially saved
With
this boy's
and he's
life.
The
like-
car, yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm gonna read a book about blood.
Yeah.
like,
like-
that scene in
Yeah.
the movie theater when he goes, what's the difference between an artery and a vein?
Mm-hmm.
Why does that matter?
Who says that, bro? If I said that on a first date,
I'm walking out.
no, guess what's happening? I'm getting reported for being a serial killer by whoever was on the date with me.
No,
Oh, I was about to spit that
you,
up.
you would get reported if you asked, do you know the difference between an artery and a vein?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
I don't know. It was just insanely predictable to me. Like
Yeah,
I knew where the story was going. It was treading ground I have seen a million times before.
Yeah.
And as you can only have a character be so charismatic to carry the film when the story is kind of just real basic. That's why when the
Yeah.
second half comes, I was like, I
There's
was
something
more
happening.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
more into it. I was like,
Yeah,
okay, there's
100%.
genuine action going on here. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it even when you get to the second half and you look back at the first half, you're like, damn, I had
Yeah.
to go through that just to get here.
Yep.
It's tough.
Yeah. I chalk it all up to just bad writing.
Yeah.
Like there's cheesy dialogue. There is some bad lines. Like I'm thinking specifically, I wrote this example down. Whenever Desmond's company meets up with what's left of another company, the 96th Battalion or whatever it is, they walk in and some guy's coming up and he's all shell shocked, just like, out of his mind. And some people come up to him and they start asking him, what's it like up there? And all he can say is, they're animals. Stinking animals. And Alexa and I laughed at him saying that. And we were like, are you joking right now? Like, that's supposed to convey that it's just horrible.
Mhm.
Like, what? That's so bad.
Yeah.
Like, and like, that we get we get introduced to all these side characters and the drill sergeant boot camp scenes that, like, we're supposed to care for because we're spending time with them and they're giving Desmond crap and all this stuff, and like, there's just no development, none, for any of these characters. I don't care about any of them or
Yeah.
what happens to them whatsoever. I don't care for the romance that's happening between Desmond and his
Dorothy,
wife.
yeah.
Like, it just doesn't. There's no weight to it. It doesn't feel that serious, if I'm being honest. It just, yeah, and like, there's also just tons of aspects of the film where it feels like there's no point or plot to the film. Like, this movie is just about a guy that won't kill, and it shows you some crazy gore, somewhat of a love story that, again, I don't care much for, and that's it. Like, it just feels like the movie is doing things just so that way it can move it forward.
The movie's doing things to make it feel like a movie.
Yeah, and it didn't really feel like a compelling story.
No.
Like, when I think of a compelling war movie, I think of, again, something like Saving Private Ryan. There is a point to the film. We found out that this man, Private Ryan, has family that have died, and now we need to get him back home, and it's our mission to go find him. There's 6 or 7 other Private Ryans out here that we've now got to go on this mission to find out who this is. That's the plot of the movie. Whereas with this one, it's just the guy won't kill.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just feels really thin.
It does.
Yeah.
Again, like, kind of just berating the same point. It feels like Oscar bait to me. It feels like this movie was created to
win an Oscar.
To win an Oscar. And it wasn't made for the sake of wanting to make a movie or making a good film at that point. And it also sets out for this like anti-war narrative that I feel like it just doesn't deliver well on. It really only focuses on like a singular pacifist perspective, and it doesn't hone in on all of the other complexities of what war is.
Yeah, it's genuinely like, if you had no one to fight and protect us, we're gonna lose every war we are in.
Exactly.
And it's a little bit more nuanced than just like, I ain't gonna touch a gun.
Yeah.
Because obviously some people have to.
Yeah. And I wish that it would explore those nuances and complexities, but it doesn't. It's just, he's got convictions, you know. and that's it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it for me.
This movie you cannot rewatch. There's no way you can rewatchable. It's a one and done movie, unless you were like me when I was 16 years old and loved it. But like now, like I'm not returning to this movie.
I could agree with you there.
Yeah. I am not return. Like, I don't know why I love this movie so much. I really don't know why. And seeing it and realizing how bad it is, I'm okay with never watching it again.
Yeah, I would only ever return to just the scene where he's saving people. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. All the rest of it is unnecessary, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what did work?
Ooh.
I thought makeup and practical effects.
Oh, easily.
Awesome.
Easily. Yeah. Great.
Really,
Seeing the dead bodies, phew.
They look dead to me.
Really, I was genuinely like, dang, it looks gruesome.
Yeah. I appreciate some of Andrew Garfield's performance. I think that he kills it in some aspects. The accent,
don't like it? You're not convinced?
not a fan, honest. It feels like he's like, this is what a Southern boy is supposed to sound like.
He's not even
you know?
that Southern though.
Yeah.
Like he's Virginia. Like that is not that South.
Yeah, I don't know. It felt like he was like, oh, this is like kind of stereotypically what they sound like, so this is what I should do.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. Honestly, the two that worked for me was I liked Andrew Garfield as I and what I mean is I liked the story behind him. I liked him being this selfless, conscientious cooperator, how he puts it. And like I said, there are moments where I'm watching this film and I am genuinely feeling inspired and genuinely feeling like a person like him is like a person I want to be like, who is willing to lay my life down for my fellow people that I care about. You know, my life doesn't, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but it's less of like, I'm not thinking about me. I'm thinking about them and how I can help. And if that means that I am at risk, then it's worth it because these people matter. And I did find myself genuinely feeling this sense of like, I don't know, just pride and this sense of like, I just wanted to, you know, he's someone that you could look up to, really. He truly is. And it was cool seeing him like hold true to his convictions and really living the way he like him saying what he believes and truly living it out. Man, that's literally what belief is the decisions you make. Right? That's literally what it is. And his convictions were stronger than the shame that he got and the pain and agony and all that stuff that he got from his people there. His convictions were even stronger than his wife saying, dude, just forget about it. You're going to go to jail. How are you going to save people in prison? He even said like, well, I couldn't, how could you even be with me if I couldn't even be who I am?
Right.
He's like, I couldn't be myself, let alone being with you.
Yeah.
So it's I do think it's got a lot to say there about even your religion and conviction and stuff like that. Living a life that's hard for the name of the Lord. It's kind of it's people go through it. So it was inspiring in some ways.
All right.
And the practical facts. That's it. Those are the only two things I really was like, yeah, cool.
There really wasn't much that worked for me. There's certain like scenes where I like how like pretty it looks, and it's only kind of like in the beginning.
Fair. I thought you were gonna say like those intestines. They're looking good.
Some of them are like, I mean, I see some gruesome stuff in my life, so it's like seeing that. It's just like
It's tough.
another day in Abraham's mind.
This dude's on best gore.
Yeah,
Just scrolling around. All right, if that's it for what did work, then who wins this movie?
Andrew.
I'm saying Andrew Garfield for me.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
As much as I like Hugo's performance
Yeah.
too, Andrew wins it.
Okay.
What are some themes?
I mean, I kind of already said it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
Be your
to live
own
out.
man.
What
Stand by your convictions.
Yeah.
Believe what you believe.
I put
Stand on business.
what you believe dictates how you will live your life, the decisions you make, and who you are as a person.
Yep. All right. What are we rating this?
I give it a 5.
I give it a 5 too.
I'm going to a 6.
Okay.
It has some actually major flaws, really, really major flaws, and yeah, I'm giving it a 6.
Yeah. I think they're all well deserved.
All right. Well, that's the end of the episode, you guys. So if you stuck all the way to the end, we appreciate you. If you are watching on YouTube, leave us a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave us a comment as well and let us know what you're thinking. If you are listening on the audio platforms, whether that be Spotify, Apple Music, Google, etc., leave us a rate and review. Let us know what you're thinking there as well. It really does help out whenever you guys are interacting with the content. It not only lets us know that you're liking what we're doing, but potentially ways where we can improve. And yeah, we kind of rely on your guys' feedback so that way we can make this show the best that it can possibly be. If you want to get in contact with us in another way and not on such a public platform, you can click into our episode descriptions and follow us on Instagram and DM us, interact with our content there. Or you can follow us on Letterboxd or send us an email and let us know what you're thinking through those platforms as well. So, with that being said, we are going to reveal our next pick for next week, which is mine. And this is a movie, I guess you could say like a franchise.
You've talked about it plenty too.
Yeah. This is a franchise that has been so near and dear to my heart that my dad kind of raised me on, which is crazy because he like loved these movies as a kid and like even talked about how like he wanted to be this person when he was a kid. Like
Imagine.
he dreamt about like when he grew up being this person.
That's so funny.
And I think it's wild that he saw it as young as he did. 'Cause my grandparents went and took him to the theater to go watch it.
1982 is when it says it came out.
So he was born in 1974. So
Oh, shit.
how old was he?
He was 8 years old.
Yeah, something like
Are you
that.
serious?
Yeah, because, well, yeah. He was born in what?
74.
And the movie came out in 82? Yeah.
Sheesh.
8 years old.
Yeah, my grandparents are wild for letting him see this.
That's funny, though.
But like
Imagine.
it had such an impact on him as a kid where he was like, this guy is so cool. I want to be him when I grow up. All this stuff. And it's a movie that like again, this franchise has been something that like it was so near and dear to me as a child that like I've watched these movies numerous amounts of times. I love them. And we're going to be starting with the first entry here that I personally think is the best one narratively and just story-wise as well. It's an incredible film. I'm talking about First Blood.
Ooh.
Starring Sylvester Stallone.
Primer sangre.
Rambo.
Yes. And this starts out, that entire Rambo franchise. And I love First Blood, and I'm not ashamed of it. I think it's genuinely a good film, and I would say that this is a movie about the effects of war and what that does to a person, kind of in the same vein of like what Full Metal Jacket kind of tries to tackle, or I would say successfully tackles. But First Blood tackles it in a way where, okay, this guy cracked. Now everyone around him is going to reap the consequences of him cracking. And it's great. I love it. I have such a fun time with it every time I watch it. And I genuinely do think it's a great movie that has a good narrative. And if I'm not mistaken, you guys have never seen it.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it because I've only seen The Last Blood.
Which is a crime against humanity.
And I saw that in theaters. Like,
okay. So let me give you a little history here, because I watched all 3 of the Rambo movies when I was young, and I loved all of them. When I found out the 4th one came out, and it was like heavy rated R, my dad went and saw it with his brothers, my uncles, and like it's heavy rated R, crazy gore, like looks insanely real, all this stuff. My dad was telling me all about it when I was a kid when it came out, and I was just like, oh man, I want to watch it. And I remember him telling me, you'll probably not be able to watch this one, just based on how violent and how gory it is. And I was just like, oh man, my imagination's running wild, not knowing anything about it. And then I remember one day he ripped it and let me watch it on his computer. And I sat there I was maybe in 6th grade. And I watched that movie on my dad's computer, just like.
You were probably like, what, 10 or 11?
Yeah, and I was seeing all this stuff just happening. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is insane. And thinking that was going to be the last Rambo movie that was ever made, and thinking like it ended on a good note there. It was a good movie. I haven't watched it in a long time, but it ended on a good note. And then Last Blood comes out, and my dad is like, this is going to be the last one. We all got to go see it as a family. And then he gets this grand idea. Let's see it in 4DX.
You guys watched it in 4DX?
Yes, we watched Last Blood in 4DX. And so not only am I like trying to pay attention, but the seats are going and like moving around and stuff. And there's like points in the film where like John Rambo is stabbing people, and like you feel the chair hitting you in the back. And like there's a part where like blood is supposed to like splash towards the camera, and water goes psst, and like sprays on you, or like arrows whiz past your hair and there's air shooting at you. And like I'm sitting here trying to watch the movie, and I'm getting pissed off because I'm sitting there like, it's like simple things where like he's sitting there driving and talking to someone, and the seats are going like.
I've only experienced one movie in 4DX, but I feel like that movie would be insane.
Yeah.
There's so much explosions that happen.
Yeah. It was tough. So Last Blood for sure is the worst one of all time.
Yeah, that's the only one I've seen.
And it sucks that that's the only one that you've seen. I'm hoping that the first one will completely change your view because it's genuinely good. So
yeah.
It's First Blood's currently streaming on AMC Plus and Philo TV. So if you have those streaming platforms, you can stream it there. I do have the luxury of owning this physically and digitally. So should you guys need it, you can borrow a copy.
I do.
But that is what we will be checking out next week. So tune in next week to hear what we have to say about First Blood. As always, this has been the Film Bros Podcast. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.